Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. You know, if this is something you eventually enjoy, who knows? It could happen. Anyway, I have already filmed this video one time and then learned that my microphone was buzzing the whole time in like a really obnoxious way. I also then learned that it was just a connection issue and not my actual microphone, so that's good. But anyway, the connector I got to get a new one of. So this is that time of the month. It should have been, I meant to get this out earlier, but here we are. I like to give an update on as to my last month's reads and then my going forward. What's my TBR? What's my MBR? What's my to be read or might be read? And this is emphasis on the might part. I am still slightly, at least my voice is still slightly under the weather. Finally coming back in working this out and feeling better, but it's still a bit of a struggle here, and I only have a hugely full week, so that'll be fun. Anyway, let's see. So first things first, the month of April, it was not a bad month. 4 books total I read. The first book was the book 4 in the Malazan Book of the Fallen. So this is kind of the theme of this whole video really is read-alongs and kind of my life lately. I have overcommitted myself as usual, and so some of these books that I've been meaning to read for ages are kind of fallen to the wayside as usual. Again, this is how my TBR gets out of control, and now I'm rereading things, and that ain't helping. So, book 4 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, that would be House of Chains. It's my third reread through this book, through these early books, up through book 6. I've read twice. I read them all twice at least, but now up through book 4 is now 3 times a piece. The third time is definitely a charm with this one. House of Chains, I've traditionally considered in the bottom tier of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, of the 10-book main series. It's still, it still leaps and bounds ahead of so many books out there that, like, I can put it bottom tier only against itself, right? If that makes sense. So, this is one, it probably has, the least exciting climax. I won't get into spoilers more than that, but it's just it still has a great climax and everything, but it's more emotional. There's also plenty going on. One of the big things that I think puts people off on this book is Karsa Orlong. He's a huge character in this book. I feel like I read somewhere, maybe I'm wrong, but that Erikson was essentially challenged, like, you can't write one POV for more than like 2 pages. So instead, he wrote the first, each Malazan book is broken up into books, not unlike The Lord of the Rings. And book 1, so the first quarter of this book is just one POV. It's Karsa Orlong. One of the things that's hard is that Karsa Orlong is kind of like a love him or hate him character. You either all in or you're not. It does help on reread to know little things like when he refers to wanting to kill children, he's not actually talking about actual children. It's his race's definition of another race. Anyway, so that helps. But he does some things that are not great. And I really do think that Erikson, he's going to show you the depravity. He's going to show you the worst things that are happening in order to show you the best things. Because I think the more I've read, the more I do read Malazan, the more I'm like, this isn't grimdark. Compassion and dedication, those kinds of things, that they're really at the top for the series, and they really do show through. Again, you got to get through quite a bit to get there. But I mean, you're action-packed and your craziness, and anyway, it just has so many things going for it. But anyway, that's book 1. That's a 1,000-pager. That took me definitely into the middle of the month, maybe even a little over. And so that one took some time. Then I took a little bit of a little break from the heavy stuff and went and caught up with the Cradle series. So I read Dread God by Will White. I love the Cradle series. This is book 11. We've got one more book to go. Dread God so far, well, just again comparatively, it's on the upper tier. I feel like about halfway through the series, it gets into this whole different realm of they just get really, really good. Not unlike Dresden Files, but at the same time, almost just the writing starts really getting good, and then of course your characters and everything are really built up by this point. But Dread God is definitely it's it's hard to follow Reaper, first of all. Reaper, the previous book, is so good. There's so many good reveals in it, and so it's hard to follow that one up, but it's still really good. It's just not my, like, all time. It's not like, oh, and this is even better than the last. It was still very good. So don't get me wrong with any of that, but I am definitely, it just feels like it's getting ready for the final book, right? And that's kind of makes sense. It's the penultimate book, so you're going to have maybe some of that, getting ready for a really good conclusion. So I'm very excited for Waybound coming out here very soon. Looks like next month, I believe. All right, then I just kind of talked about this in a recent book haul. I got back on Audible, and John Scalzi's book, if you haven't read Old Man's War, first of all, go read that. It's a great science fiction book, and he's got all kinds of great books all over the place. What is it? The Android's Dream is hilarious and absolutely inappropriate. And then so many more, but he's got a lot of good little short stories, and this is a series that I just talked about, the Dispatcher series, and I just read the third of 3 so far. Hopefully there will be more. I also just read somewhere that it's actually been optioned, which is great because I've been a proponent of this series getting its own TV show or film or whatever. These are just such fun, like, mysteries, and I just think there's so much to this world. I've described it before, but it's like it's a concept you just don't think too hard about it. It's just like, what if this was a thing? Like, I love this kind of ideas sci-fi. Like, here's an idea, run with it. You don't have to explain exactly why it exists or what. So there's a little bit of magic maybe to the science fiction, but essentially, if you're killed, then you will actually wake up where you feel most comfortable, usually your home, where you feel safest, usually your home, and so, but if you like die naturally, then you're dead, right? So, and now that isn't 100%, it's like 99.9% accurate, you know, so most of the times if you get killed, then you will wake up, and maybe there's some, like, you thought you were getting killed and you weren't. I don't know. There's all kinds of things, but it's a great concept. Again, don't think too hard, and it's just really cool how it's used, how it's put into play, and then just how the mystery surrounding it. Scalzi just does a good job, and that's Zachary Quinto doing the narration, and he's just excellent. I mean, Heroes and Star Trek are my the big ones for me. But anyway, good stuff there. And then finally, the last day of the month, I was able to finish up Blood for Coins by Cam Wolfe. This is a really fun one. It's a novella. It is the first in a series, the Saber Noctum, I think it's called. Anyway, you'll be able to see because editing Bryce knows everything. It's crazy. Well, first of all, Cam Wolfe, if you don't know, you probably know if you know anything about me, is a booktuber, both booktube but also a writing tuber. And I have to say, having read this first entry into the series, I can say Cam Wolfe absolutely is a great writer, and definitely, you can take his writing advice from his booktube channel. I can absolutely say that because it was great writing, great put together story. I really enjoyed it. The characters aren't always, they're not like lovable. Like, I didn't love them, but I'm in my old age, I'm actually kind of almost preferring that. So it's this weird thing that I do now. I like this. It kind of is challenging me, and a lot of things. Like another one is The Drowned Kingdom by P.L. Stewart. Is just like a character you just like. I don't like this guy, but but it does leave lots of room for like change and a character arc and all that. So that's maybe why I'm liking it a lot more. But anyway. There's lots more, the bad, and I'll do a full review, but really the negatives are just, hey, this was a novella. There wasn't a whole lot about the world, and I'm dying to find out. Cam didn't know, but I am a sucker for that, like, escape prison into like a totally unsurvivable territory, whatever. I love that kind of concept. If you've read, or if you watched, what is it? I think it's Chronicles of Riddick this is in, where they're on this like planet that's like, the sun scorches like the planet as it goes around, and so it like turns things into like the planet into lava as the sun is like, or I guess as the world is turning, as the sun is going around. This is how it works, guys. It's science. They have to like hurry, and not that it wouldn't still be hot anyway. So we've got to like hurry and run and get from place to place. And anyway, it's just a cool concept that, again, don't think too hard. I don't always need to think through everything unless the narrative is calling for it. But I just like that it's just such a fun concept. And so anyway, this is one of those where that's where we start. Then we got some kind of criminal activities, some heist type things. And so anyway, it's a fun story, and it even, like, you know, they use a scythe as a weapon, and it even makes fun of why that's just the most impractical weapon ever. So I love it. Anyway, that just made me chuckle. So those are the 4 books for April. I had a good month. It was really fun. Now we're getting into what's my might be read, what's my to be read. I've never liked the be in those things. Can we just get to read, might read? Do we need too much more of this? I don't even understand. It's a weird English affectation. I don't know. But anyway, going into May, what are we reading? So obviously on the table, since I'm doing a read along for Malazan, is Midnight Tides. We're still trying to figure out the live stream, when the live stream for House of Chains is going to happen. We've definitely slowed down in that by like a ton, by like months. It was supposed to be like a monthly read along. But as always happens with Malazan, they're just a lot, and it's a lot to require for booktubers to just stay with when there's so many other things, so many other demands on our time, and we do this for fun. It's not like this is like a job. You know, would I love for this to be a job? That'd be great. Is it possible? Not with the debts that I have. I think that's a great. Anyway, we'll see where we get with the with Malazan. Anyway, I'm kind of waiting to kind of get the go ahead there. The other thing is, I'm apparently committed to the year of Sanderson, but not in the way that's like reading the special editions or anything that are coming out, or the 4 secret novels, which I have yet to get to. I committed to a Cosmere read along, and so that has been really fun to just talk with some great other booktubers, authors like P.L. Stewart, I already mentioned, and chat Cosmere and see how that's going. So a couple things that I'm kind of working on with that. One is Mistborn. Eventually we're going to get there, and it's coming up pretty soon. So I reserved it on the library, but it already came in. So it's one of those where you kind of drop everything. It happened to actually be a good time for my audio reading. And so I put everything aside, reading Mistborn right now. So I already started, and it's really good so far. Kelsier seems really interesting. Vin, I'm loving her character. Very closed off right now. And so anyway, this will be cool. Again, I'm a little bit ahead of the game here, but you know, that's how I roll, right? I'm always ahead of the game when it comes to reading. I'm always giving excuses, man. But we're on Words of Radiance, and then there's going to be a bit of a break in the Stormlight Archive to go to Mistborn, because I understand, anyway, there's some connections in the Cosmere that I want to be ahead on, and make sure that I read things in the right order. So I appreciate Made Between the Pages, and her just kind of putting this together. But also what I'm reading is Edge Dancer. So it's just, again, everything that's not the actual Year of Sanderson books, that's what I'm reading. So Edge Dancer, yes, this copy has just gotten absolutely destroyed. I took it on vacation and it got wet. Because, you know, come on, that's what I do. I'm a reader, right? Like, my book comes with me, even if it's on a hike through waterfalls and whatnot. And apparently with a bag that I thought was waterproof and is not. All right, then to kind of round out the month, this is again in the May Be Read category here. We're talking, I got a couple of audiobook review copies, and I always like to prioritize those if I can. But one is Wistful Ascending by J.C.M. Byrne, and then the other one is Dark Theory by Wick Welker. Both been on my TBR for a little bit now. I've been dying to get to both of them, so I just heard there's tons of great buzz about both of these books, so I'm very excited to get to them. And again, on audio makes it just so much easier for me to get to. That's apparently where my life is these days. Then I'm going to throw this in because I already started kind of just reading for a couple pages, and it's already just bringing back so many memories. Brent Weeks' Night Angel Nemesis. This is a chonker though. Man, 800 pages in hardback, so you know it's like 12 or 1300 pages mass market paperback. Throw it on there. We'll see. That's definitely a stretch. But man, it may be just irresistible because it's looking so good to me right now. I couldn't believe that we're getting more Night Angel. I have a great place in my heart for the Night Angel trilogy. It's got some warts. it has, you know, I had some issues with the last book, but overall, I just have fond memories of the whole thing, and I'm excited to get back into that world. So, anyway, what are you reading? What are you looking forward to? What was your best book that you read in April? Because I need to know about it. I got to put it on my TBR if it's not already on there, and because that's how I roll. The mountain will just continue to grow, and I can't stop it. So I just embrace it. And here we are. So anyway, thank you so much for liking, for subscribing, and we will catch you later. Bye.